What's up, everybody? This is A7X Fan Ben, and welcome to another fleet making video. This one is going to be called Kill That UPS. So it's going to be a pretty hardcore anti-universal pirate shipping fleet to try to stop that meta competitive fleet. So we're going to call it that. Got our PSM list fleet ready to go here, and it's going to be a 40-point fleet designed for competitive tournament play. And I'll leave the description alone for now. And the most basic premise is getting a double action Sea Dragon that can attack the UPS ship that has Captain Jack Sparrow, presumably him, aboard, or whichever ship has his ability on it, whether it's from a ship or probably from CGS, and then just like slaughter basically. So I do have a UPS Anti-UPS+UPS fleet that uses Raptor Maw, but here I'm going to upgrade so I can get the cargo wrecking. So this is an idea that Captain Vendari likes a lot too for anti-UPS stuff. So Angelica, every single hit will eliminate a cargo. So that way, when you hit the UPS ship, you start going through their stuff real quick. So hopefully with one shoot action, you might be able to get to Captain Jack Sparrow and take him out of the game. But that might be tough. Sometimes UPS ships have 3 or 4 or 5 crew aboard, especially the oarsmen that get traded out to the island they're docked at. So you might not be able to get to them on that first attack, but you might be able to go in for more. So it does use our typical cheese combo to get double actions whenever we want. So Micron, Bradley, Robinson for the 3 core crew. And so that's basically 29 points. So it doesn't really leave us a lot of wiggle room for the rest. And there's various things you could do with the last 16 points. And what I want to do is kind of just have a hybrid. I want to have a ship that can actually do other stuff that's not UPS, and it's not just like an it's not necessarily an attack ship either. I really want a captain on it. So I really want it to be a hybrid. And it's important, the 16 points, 5 have to be separate. So keep that in mind. So we're assuming, obviously we're going to use Bradley's +5 to get us to 45 total, but we don't have 5 separate points in the fleet right now. We need Patagonia in the original fleet in order to get Bradley in the first place. So we actually need those 5 points to be separate. So we can't just add Raptor Maw, for example, and get another dragon, because then we wouldn't be able to contribute 5 after the initial 40. So there's probably going to be a captain and helmsman on the hybrid option. And I asked at the Discord about like what hybrid would be best, but I kind of narrowed it down to, I saw some other options I liked, like the Algiers has treasure trading and is 11 points. So I used Tealer Fire's database to kind of search around for like what ships basically have at least 3 cargo, preferably 4, that have decent cannons and at least S+S base speed, and that could fit a captain helmsman aboard. So 11 points or less, because you kind of gotta budget these things. So if we know we have 16 points left and we want a ship with a captain helmsman, it can't cost more than 11 total. So then we kind of reverse engineer kind of like the criteria for what kind of ship we can afford, because unfortunately we can't get something really good, or at least not something like devastating that would be able to compete with the dragon for efficiency of killing the enemy UPS ship. So that's kind of why I thought I'd probably go with a hybrid. There's also, I thought right before I started recording, I realized for 16 points you can actually do a poor man's version of UPS with Banshee's Cry, Captain Jack Sparrow, Jonah Explorer, that's 10, Hidden Cove for 12, and then Core with 2 Horsemen at Home for the traded treasures, and that's 16. But I already made the anti-UPS+UPS fleet, and this would end up really similar to that if I went that option. So I'm gonna keep the fleets a little more differentiated and not do that. And this is also like an anti-UPS fleet, so I don't really want to put UPS in it. I don't want it to be so similar to that one. And by adding a hybrid, if for some reason the dragon's not effective or gets killed or whatever, because it's facing like Universal Pirate Swan or an HMS GT UPS fleet, something like that. At least now we'll have another gunship that might be able to finish off a UPS Captain Jack Sparrow ship, or at least, just be a good multi-purpose ship for the fleet that can get gold, because we're still going to need some treasure as well. So these are the options I looked at. C is captain, H is helmsman, E for explorer, O for oarsman. Past few years I've just been doing that a lot because it's just so automatic to me at this point. HC is hidden cove. So there's various options. I'm probably going to go with the hyena. She's got a nice ability to eliminate a crew if she gets pinned. She's got good cannons, one of the best English hybrids. Dover's a good option. I kind of want to have these crew available. I think it would be useful to have like helmsman, explorer and oarsman. So Tiger's Breath is a decent option. The Jade ship, she has explorer built in, but she doesn't have as much firepower as these other options. So you could do that and then include Hidden Cove, but I kind of want to have a little bit more beef on the ship to be more of a proper hybrid. She'd be a little bit weak. So Alchemist is a decent option. She's 11 points. She's got the +2 gold ability, which is nice, but there's no points for explorer or oarsman. And I for the initial version of this fleet, at least that I'm going to test out, I really want an explorer or the explorer ability on this like hybrid for 16 total. So it's debatable which one is best to go with. I think I'll try hyena first and see how that goes. You could also make an argument that you should try to include like a French ship to get access to Paradis de la Mer, the best fort. There's all sorts of different angles you could approach this from, but I'm going to keep it a little bit more English. And Hyena is a very good ship, so she should be able to do the job decently. So good cargo, solid speed that will increase, good enough cannons, certainly, and then that nice ability, which could come in quite handy against a UPS ship if she faces it. Like I said, if Angelica isn't effective or gets killed or gets canceled and then can't move as a result, things like that. So we're just going to add our basic Chio, Captain Helmsman, Explorer, Oarsman setup here. So this will allow Hyena to move and shoot, go S+S+S, and she'll be able to explore. And since the oarsman doesn't take up space, she'll have room for 2 coins. So she can grab the best 2 treasures from an island. So overall, should be a very effective hybrid. And the other nice thing about having another ship like this that has a multi-purpose role is that Micron might give Patagonia's action to Hyena at some point, especially after the first 1 or 2 rounds. Early in the game, Angelica is going to try to go nuts and wreck the opponent's UPS strategy. But after that, I could definitely see Micron giving his action to Hyena to get gold faster or mop up any damage that needs to be done to the enemy fleet. This is also maybe a decent ship to go after an enemy like Micron type ship, or an opponent's ship that's docked at home that has the ransom ability on board. Between that ability and her speed, she could be decent for that purpose. So that gets us maxed out at 45, and so the +5 would be probably used for whatever combination of 5 points of crew on the Hyena. So it doesn't really matter too much, most likely. And then might as well add forts. Angelica is considered pirate ship, so we do have access to pirate forts, and I'll definitely add the English ones as well. So it's probably not going to build forts as often as a UPS counterpart would, but it's good. A lot of times I just include forts in competitive fleets just to kind of, if anybody looks at the fleets and want to play them, just kind of remind them that like it's definitely good to have them all available when you go to the game to play this fleet, especially in a competitive or tournament scenario. So save that up. And then for the coin distribution, we've got negative UTs. So the idea is that the opponent's UPS fleet is more likely to explore first. And also Hyena is kind of the third wheel here. So if she explores and gets all her crew killed, I don't know. I think it's worth the risk. And I think we're more concerned about stopping UPS than optimizing our own exploratory abilities here. It's kill that UPS. So if we end up finding these, then whatever. So You could, I guess, for that reason, you could maybe include like a Spire crew or try to use a Spire ship as a hybrid. But I'm going to stick with Hyena for now and just see what happens. So we got Plague, Missionary. So these are basically designed to slow or stop the enemy UPS ship. Natives, Wolves. I put Fruit with a question mark. Yeah, we'll do these two. And then the last one is kind of an interesting debate. Which one is the most negative UT to add? So I'm probably going to go with, I might check out Bloody Gold actually, because that one is pretty nasty. So that's the LE version of Blood Money. So it's way down here, 210. Yeah, 210. So each time a ship loads a non-unique from the island, a limited crew on that ship with a point value equal to or greater than the value of that treasure. So this kind of ties into the Hyena too, because if I do this and all the coins I put in are 5s or something, it's going to be hard to load any treasure for myself. So, and then the Savage Natives eliminates crew based on a die roll, highest on a high roll, lowest on a lower roll. And then Fruit is fun because you can't unload it. And the code rules that you have to load it and dump other things to make room for it. Or else nobody would load it. So it kind of makes sense. If other cargo can be unloaded to make room for Fruit, it must be unloaded. If the ship has fewer than 2 cargo spaces and or sufficient cargo cannot be unloaded, Fruit is still loaded and will take up additional space as it becomes available. I think the reason I went away from that in my brainstorming is because a lot of UPS ships have cargo to load it and not really be affected. So for example, if the High Peng has Captain Jack Sparrow, Helmsman Explorer, she'll have 2 cargo spaces open, and then she never has to load the treasure she trades home or the crew that gets swapped for that treasure. So Fruit might not really be good enough, and if Hyena finds it, she'd have to unload crew to load regular coins. So it's just a debate between these two Rise of the Fiends limited edition UTs. So I think based on the other coins I'm going to have to put in, I think Bloody Gold's going to make it hard for Hyena to load any treasure. I could do 771, and then if you find the 1, it's a little easier, but I think I'm going to go with Savage Natives just to try to be a tiny bit nicer to Hyena, theoretically. So we'll try that. So we'll try Savage Natives. So pretty brutal, as expected and as necessary for a kill of that UPS fleet. Pretty brutal treasure mix. Yeah, I mean, of course, again, there's a chance like Hyena finds the wolves and gets kind of deterred, but we're more interested in knocking out the other fleet's capabilities than optimizing our own gold exploration efforts. So that's pretty much it, almost, because we got to add the coins. So I was starting to think about this a little bit a few minutes ago in my head about which coin distribution would be optimal. So we have 3 left to get to our 15, because we need 8 for 15, and no coin is worth more than 7. So we can't have less than 3 standard treasure or non-unique treasure in the distribution. So 3 coins for 15. If we do all 5s, those are all high enough to build a fort. I've thought about this a little bit in at least one other fleet, I think, where we want to include a low value coin, such as a 1 or a 2. That way UPS might have to use that one on the first turn, and then if they don't have enough gold bonuses, they won't be able to build a fort on the first turn, which could be a problem for Angelica and just in general locking up gold, things like that. So I think we're going to do 771 just to keep it simple, because if we do like 762, basically I'm anticipating the other UPS fleet having like a +2 gold ability. So if we include a 2, if that gets plussed up via 2 and you can use that extra 2 to build a fort, Paradis de la Mer costs 4 gold. So these are the kinds of like gamey, like competitive things that are good to think about when building these fleets. This is how competitive it gets. So I'm literally like anticipating the other fleet building Paradise on the first turn with a gold bonus ability. Like that's how specific this gets, and how like your mindset like shifts when you think about this stuff a lot. So I'm gonna go 7-7-1. So if they find the 1, and then not the 7th, obviously. If they find the 7th, I mean, basically we want at least one of either way. 2 of these coins are going to be enough to build a fort, pretty much no matter what. So, we just want to make sure that we include at least 1 coin out of the 3 that they would have more trouble with in terms of fort construction. So then if they don't have a gold bonus ability, they can't build any forts for sure. That's why we don't want to include any 3s, because that's like a minimum for forts. Minimum fort cost is 3. And if we go lower than 2, with just 1, even if they plus it up with 2, they can't, at least they can't build Paradise. They could build Dead Man's Point or whatever for 3 gold, but at least they can't get the best fort with that really sickening defensive ability. So that's why we're doing that treasure distribution for 15. And that about wraps it up. So we got the double action dragon. It's going to try to trash all the cargo and the enemy UPS ship. And then we got our multi-purpose hybrid that can do a variety of things and might be getting some actions from Micron as well. And then the forts, if we need them. And then we got the negative UTs. Hopefully a pretty optimized coin distribution. That's a big key to this fleet as well. Pretty optimized, nasty coin distribution to slow the enemy fleet down. So feel free to like the video. Question of the day is, do you think this would be better or worse than the Anti-UPS+UPS fleet that I made? I'll put a link to that in the description as well. It's another one, basically uses Raptor instead of Angelica, and then instead of a hybrid, it's got like a basic UPS setup for the last 19 points. So curious what you think of this fleet. Feel free to leave your comments below, and feel free to subscribe for more videos and check out the affiliate links to buy pirate stuff from eBay, and that'll help me support the channel and support my site Pirates with Ben and my efforts to bring back the game. So I appreciate you watching. Thanks again, and I'll see you in more videos.